Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to create and customize modules in Zoho CRM. Modules are a core part of Zoho CRM, and customizing them can make your CRM work exactly the way you need it to. So what are these modules? Well, if you look at all of these tabs, they represent different modules. They are simply categorizations of your business. So you might have leads, deals, or tasks that you are tracking. These are the modules that track those things. So there are two types of modules in Zoho CRM. We have standard modules, which are already created. These are the ones we see here. And we can also make custom modules, which are the ones that you create yourself. Why do we need custom modules? If we look at this, probably this is a standard business where it looks for leads and deals and there's meetings and things like that. However, if a hospital wants to use this, leads are a bit different. They work with patients. So you might want to create a patient module. That's the custom module that you might create in this instance. So what about customizing modules? You'll find that if you want to customize a leads module and a customized module like a patient's module, the customization process is the same. So we're going to create a module and then customize it. Using the example of a hospital, how do we create the patient's module? We go to where it says setup, customization, then modules and fields. These are existing modules. We want to create a new module. So we click new module. When we create a new module, we have to name it. So here we're going to write patients. The singular patient. And then we click done. We are now presented with the fields that we will see when we open a patient record or the patient module. We can use the preview to see how it will come out. So these are the fields that we have at the moment. But we might want to add patient first name, patient last name, address, and a lot of fields. How do we do that? Well, we can add more fields below here using this fields menu. But before we do so, you will also notice that the layouts can be customized depending with the user of the system. So this is an administrator layout. We can also create different layouts. I'm going to show you how to do that later. Let's edit an existing field, a single line field here. So we edit the properties and we add first so that it becomes patient first name. After we do that, we click done. We can also add another field by dragging this part which says single line 1. We name it patient last name. This will automatically update the fields that we see in that preview or in the administrator view. We can also add many other lines like address, emails, phone numbers, and things like that, just by dragging them from this one, from this area. We can also add a new section. So why do we need a new section? For example, we might want what we call patient history. So with patient history, we can also add other fields. For example, we can add the date field. It can be the admission date or the date that we created this record or anything like that. So let's just write date. We might also want the practitioner to write history information there on the multi-line, so it gives him a larger place to write. So we can write patient history. For now, we're going to leave it as it is. We can also add checkboxes here, where a person can just tick a certain thing. For example, is the person hypertensive? Are they diabetic? So once we do this, we are done. The next thing we need to make sure is that we have allocated this to the right person. The person who's going to see this section, we have to allocate them from this section where we click this gear icon and we go to module permission. For now, this is an administrator layout, so it's allocated to the administrator, so that's fine. You also have an option of changing how this information is presented. For example, if you click this gear icon under patient information, you can change this to a single column layout. You can also change it back to a double column where you have information on both sides. This section is simply an image that you can upload to identify this record. After you do all of this, you have created a standard layout, which we can rename as well. I usually want to rename this and name it Administrator Layout so that we don't confuse the layouts there. After we do that, we click Save and Close. Say we have a different class of users that we want to access this module, but we want them to see limited information from the patient's module. What do? We simply create a second layout. But one thing you need to make sure is that you have added that class of users to this module. We go back here to the module setup. We scroll down to where it says patients. We go to those three dots and we click module permission. We then add, I have a second class of people who fit under standard users. So now when I click save, they have access to the module. When I go back now to the layout, I can create a new layout from scratch and start to build what I want them to see. In this case, I simply want to remove the second section. So instead of rebuilding as we did the administrator layout, I can simply clone the layout. So we need to name this layout. So we can write standard user layout. In this case, the second user is not supposed to see the patient history. They are only supposed to see the patient basic information. So what we do is we then go to the gear icon and we delete this section. And we click yes, delete. We then go to this gear icon and click it and say layout permission. We remove the administrator and we put the standard user. Once we do that, we then click save. After doing this, we click save and close. We now have the administrator layout and the standard user layout. However, there's a slight challenge here. This layout is shared to both the administrator and the standard user. It's a quick fix. What we do is we go back to the layout assignment. We want to assign the administrator layout only to the administrator. But we want to assign the standard user layout only to the standard user. Everything has been put to its place. Once we do that, we click save. Another section where you can quickly view the fields that you have is the fields section here. So if you click it, it just shows you a granular view of how the fields are distributed. In this case, we're seeing that the date is only in the administrator layout. The email is in the administrator layout and standard user layout. So you can also filter out to say, I want to see the fields that are in the administrator layout. You can simply do that and then you see it there. You also have an option to create and edit fields from different sections. This also shows you the field permissions that we have. You can actually lock out certain fields or hide them so that they cannot be seen. So you need to make sure that you have chosen which class of user you're dealing with. Say we're dealing with the standard user. You might not want them to change certain information that has been put. For example, if they had access to the diabetic fields, we'll simply say it's a read-only field. even the email, so that they don't change it. You just make it a read only. Say you don't want them to see the patient's last name. You simply go to where it says don't show. After you do this, you save. So let's see how this comes out when we go to see the layouts. So we're going to click preview. We can no longer see the patient's last name, and we do not have an option to change the email. That section really helps if you really want to make a granular approach to stopping the other users from accessing certain records, from seeing certain records, and from changing certain records. So this is quite a powerful tool that you can use in terms of permissions to different fields that you have. So this is how you use this field section. But this is how you set up or create a new module. If you want to modify the fields in a particular module, what you simply do is go to that module and you then go to fields. You can modify these from here. You can also go to the layouts and then click the standard layout that you have been given. You have the option to then modify these fields. You can actually add more fields. You can also modify existing fields that you have depending on the type of field. This type of field, you can actually edit it. So you edit the properties there, and then you can change the information that you have.